For those joining us from Facebook, thank you for joining us. We have an action-packed program for you all tonight. If you have any questions for our speakers, please put them in the Q&A section. Welcome all. Happy to have you here. We're looking forward to a great meeting, a great kickoff to a great year, organizing to win with Our Revolution in Connecticut here. All across the country, Our Revolution is organizing to fight for progressive policies, elect progressive champions, because when we organize, we win. Lovely to see you all here tonight. Yeah, this is great. Great to see. Hi, Angie. Yeah, this is great to see you all. People joining in. Yeah, Beth, our person here from Central Connecticut. Yeah, lovely to have you here. We're looking forward to a great program tonight. I'm going to be talking about some very important issues in the state and an important race in the national scene. And hi, there's Gina from Meriden joining us as well. Great to see everybody. Hope you're all able to get in easily from the Facebook page. Yeah, we have a lot to share with you tonight. Lots of energy. We want to, yeah, lots of energy. We want to really get going here tonight. So it looks like we're about to get started. Nick from Northwest Connecticut, Mary from Bristol. Okay, here we go. We're going to take it away now, Beth.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, Connecticut. My name is Beth Angel, and together with Mary Uva, we'll be your hosts for tonight's Our Revolution Connecticut organizing call. We're excited to be kicking off things for 2021. We've got so much important work ahead here in Connecticut and across the country. 2020 taught us a lot of things. One of the most important lessons I learned as an activist was that we can never let up on our organizing. Our organizing helped remove Trump from the White House and Biden to win the White House. Our organizing helped Democrats elect progressive champions to Congress, not only in Connecticut, but nationally, and to take control of the Senate. After pouring everything we had into the general election, our revolution pivoted and poured our resources and our energy and our passion into the contest in Georgia. Between November, I'm sorry, my thing just blew up on me. Between November and January, we mobilized our members to knock on more than 10,000 doors, place 200,000 phone calls, and send 495,000 texts. That ability to roll up our sleeves and get to work to bring progressive activists together for a crucial moment in time, that organizing helped Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff win in Georgia. Now we've got to ramp up our organizing to make sure that we can build on those successes and have a government that truly serves the people. That begins with a COVID stimulus package that includes a permanent stimulus for millions of low-wage workers by raising that minimum wage to $15, and an executive order from President Biden that cancels student debt for millions of borrowers, and I'm one of them. From there, we'll move to Medicare for all and reunification of families separated at the border, comprehensive criminal justice reform, and so much more. It's all possible, but it's up to us to get all the transformational change across the line. And as 2020 showed us, when we organize, we win. I'm now going to turn it over to my co-host, Mary, who will talk more about the local issues we're focused on in 2021 and our agenda for today's call. Thanks, Mary.
And thank you, Beth. And hi, everybody. We do have a lot of work to do here in Connecticut. Almost a year into the pandemic, we've got too many people are still suffering. While things are beginning to turn at the federal level, our state and local governments need to step up to help all of Connecticut recover. One of the ways that we need to do that is to stem the eviction crisis by guaranteeing a right to counsel for people facing eviction. We also have to work on the climate crisis as it continues unabated. We've got to prevent the expansion of fossil fuel infrastructure in our state. Our first order of business there is to stop the proposed gas-fired power plant at Killingly. Our other priorities include supporting legislation that will legalize marijuana and create provisions to expunge previous felony convictions, advocating for tax legislation that is truly progressive, and looking carefully at the public option for healthcare that's being considered by the state legislature. Tonight, we're honored to be joined by 4 special guests who will talk about the important work that they're doing on several of these issues. We have Alice Prail with the Central Connecticut DSA Housing and Justice Project, and Dalia Romano, a graduate of New York University School of Law, who's done eviction defense work for tenants in New York and Massachusetts. We also have Senna Wazer and Mitchell Kevdar, co-directors of Sunrise Connecticut, an environmental advocacy group that's fighting to stop the Killingly project. Now, hopefully, most of you know that Bernie surrogate extraordinaire Nina Turner is running for Congress in Ohio. It's a special election to fill the seat that's vacated by Marcia Fudge, who was selected by Biden to head housing and urban development. So we're joined tonight by activists with Our Revolution Ohio, who are going to tell us about what they're doing for Nina's grassroots campaign and what we can do to help with that effort. And finally, we're going to wrap up with all the ways that you can get involved here with Our Revolution. This month is our special membership drive, so I'm hoping that everybody on the meeting is going to sign up to be a sustaining member. We're going to post links to all of the websites, Facebook pages, and action items that are mentioned, so you can use the links to figure out how you can get involved. And if we forget anything, please just post it in the chat and we'll catch it. If you have any questions for the speakers, submit it into the chat as well, and we'll try to get to all of them. Before we introduce our special guests, we're going to hear from the incomparable Anna Marta Visky, who is now on staff with Our Revolution National. She's going to update us on the work Our Revolution has accomplished over the past election and give us some takeaways on the results. Okay, take it away, Anna Marta.
Thank you so much, Mary. Hello, Connecticut. I am Anna Marta Visky. I'm a regional organizer with Our Revolution, and I'm joining you from New Jersey. As Mary mentioned, I'm coming to you tonight with a couple of national updates. First and foremost, the most important part of my update to you tonight is that a couple of weeks ago, we at the national team rolled out our first ever membership program for all of you to be able to sign on and become sustaining members of our group, our organization. Make sure that you do put a small down payment on our common mission, as Nina Turner said, a down payment on our mission. We are launching a membership program, a sustaining membership program. We are asking for $5 a month. If you can help us with that, that would be great. That will help us fulfill our 4-point plan that you'll hear more about tonight. Our 4-point plan is holding President and Congress accountable. During his inaugural address, Joe Biden said it's time for boldness, for there is so much to do, and we agree. Democrats now control the White House and both houses of Congress, so this is the time for us to push for a bold, progressive agenda, and this is the group that will hold Congress and Democrats accountable. We are fighting, as you well know, for policies like the Green New Deal, Medicare for All, and the $15 minimum wage and more. We are fighting for student debt cancellation. We are fighting for housing for all and so much more. So again, $5 or more will make you a sustaining member of Our Revolution. Please contribute tonight. We'll put the link in the chat for you a couple of times. We are calling on Biden to do more. We are calling on Congress to do more. We are calling on the Senate and House Democratic leadership to fight for $15 minimum wage and put that in the COVID relief package. So again, Your monthly contribution will help us keep the pressure on the Democratic leadership, Joe Biden and Congress, and will be able together to provide relief, desperately needed relief, and deliver real change for poor and working class people and families. This is what we do. Number 2 on our 4-point plan is electing progressive champions at every level of government. And we have done an amazing job here in Connecticut doing just that. Last year, we have elected over 34 state legislators or down ballot candidates here in this state. We had over 90% win rate in Connecticut. So we have done, again, an amazing job last year, but 2021 is not an off year for elections. We're going to have to continue fighting for progressive wins. And there are hundreds of elections all across the country. So again, chip in, join our movement, be part of this group, become a sustaining member. We are fighting for progressive champions like Nina Turner in Ohio, and you'll hear from some amazing, dedicated, committed Our Revolution Ohio organizers who are doing amazing work there. So again, chip in, the link is in the chat for you. Be part of this group, be part of this movement. Number 3 is fighting for progressive policies, right? We cannot do without those. From organizing to pass statewide measures, single payer bills in a couple of key states across the country, California, Washington, New York. We are also fighting fracking, and our members are working hard to enact progressive policies in their cities and states. Last year, we again had an amazing year in 2020. We won nearly 81% of our state and local ballot initiatives, like the Fight for 15 that you are sure you know of in Florida, and paid family leave. But there is so much more that we need to do together in 2021. So again, join Our Revolution. You will help us achieve so many amazing progressive goals together. And then number 4 on our 4-point plan is very near and dear to my heart, is building a progressive party. Our Revolution is the only group among the grassroots progressive organizations that's really doing this work. We are the only group that's really invested in transforming the party from within and creating a progressive, representative and inclusive party that's fighting for working people every single day, inside and outside halls of power. So again, your monthly gift will support our goal of electing progressives to party leadership positions, from county committee members such as me to precinct captains and DNC chairs in 2021. Again, please put the link in the chat. I'm sure my colleagues are doing that. And everyone who is on the call, whether you are watching on Facebook or you're joining us on Zoom, please contribute, become a sustaining member. Just $5 a month will do that. Will make you a card-carrying member of Our Revolution. How awesome. And this is an amazing design that I love, created by an Our Revolution organizer who is also an internationally renowned artist who created this amazing card. And you'll get that in the mail if you sign up. So again, contribute. And as a reminder, if you have any questions for our guests, you have Zoom chat. Please put your questions there, your comments there. Let's have an engaging conversation. We want your opinions. We want your feedback. This is meant to be an interactive conversation, and we are really looking forward to hearing from all of you. With that being said, I'll kick it back to Beth.
Thank you so much, Anna. So our first guest tonight is Alice Prale from the Central Connecticut DSA Housing and Justice Project, who will be talking about the effort to pass right to counsel legislation, which will guarantee that all tenants facing eviction have access to legal representation. So important. Alice will be joined by Dalia Romanow, who is also with the Housing and Justice Project and a graduate of New York University School of Law, who has done eviction defense work for tenants in New York and Massachusetts. Welcome to you both. So I just want to kind of put down a little bit of groundwork here and pose a few questions to you, which might help you or not, just go through with you what you wanted to say anyway. So first of all, can you tell us why it's so important to pass the right to counsel legislation? Why is an eviction crisis especially dangerous during a pandemic? And what can people listening tonight do to help? Thank you, Alice and Dalia.
Thank you, Beth. And thank you all for joining us to talk about right to counsel this evening. So my name is Alice Prale. I'm here with the Central Connecticut Democratic Socialists of America. So first, a little background on what is right to counsel. Next slide, please. So you may be thinking that we already have a right to legal representation in court, but that only applies to criminal court. Since evictions are civil cases, tenants are not guaranteed legal representation. Right now, only 7% of all tenants facing eviction do so with a lawyer by their side. And that percentage is likely to go down after the eviction moratorium is lifted because so many tenants are in need of legal assistance. So that's what we're fighting for. All tenants should have the right to counsel when they're facing an eviction. No one should have to go through the stress of an eviction and go through legal court without legal help, or go through housing court without legal help. Next slide, please. So evictions are violent disruptions in a tenant's life, often resulting in homelessness. Evictees may lose their source of income and face other costs due to eviction. Student schooling is interrupted, which affects academic achievement. An eviction on a tenant's record often keeps them from finding new housing because landlords routinely deny applications from tenants who have an eviction on their record. Evictions can also lead to negative health outcomes, both mental and physical health. For this pandemic, the health guidance is to stay home whenever possible. And after an eviction, a tenant has an increased risk of exposure and risk spreading the virus in the community when they don't have a safe space to quarantine. Ultimately, evictions entrench the racial, ethnic, and gender disparities in health, wealth, and housing stability. Latinx renters are 1.5 times as likely to face eviction, and Black renters are twice as likely to face eviction. And within these communities, women disproportionately bear the brunt of evictions. So evictions are a cause, not just a condition of poverty. Evictions obviously impact a person's access to shelter, but they also have plenty of other outcomes that impact a tenant's life, their jobs, their education, and their health. And evictions do not impact the population evenly. Next slide, please. So what exactly are we demanding in right to counsel? We need to establish access to an attorney as a right for tenants in eviction cases, a right for all residential tenants in all types of rental properties. Legal representation should be offered by nonprofit legal providers who have expertise in housing law. And the right must cover all eviction-related cases, including administrative hearings, because legal representation is more effective if they can intervene earlier in the process. So now I'm going to hand it off to Dahlia.
Thanks so much, Alice. Could I have the next slide, please? Great. So I'm going to talk about the right to counsel in the national context. Right now, right to counsel has been passed in 7 cities, and we have seen really significant impacts in these cities that show how this legislation can really improve tenants' lives. So I've thrown a couple of statistics up there on the slide. A couple of other statistics in San Francisco, which enacted right to counsel in 2018, 2/3 of represented tenants were able to stay in their homes. And in Cleveland, which enacted right to counsel in 2019, a study just came out showing that 93% of evictions were prevented by right to counsel. So a really huge impact there. Right to counsel also saves states money. Evictions add pressure to the shelter system, the foster care system, emergency rooms, other things that are costly to states. And we estimate that for every dollar spent on right to counsel, the state will save between $2.40 and $12.74. And before we move on from this slide, I just want to also emphasize and name that in all of these cities where right to counsel has been passed, it's been the result of really strong grassroots organizing, building of tenant power, and that is what we are really trying to do here with as the DSA, as the Right to Counsel Coalition Housing Justice Project. So next slide, please. Okay, so in Connecticut right now, about 80% of landlords come to housing court for eviction cases with counsel, with a lawyer, but fewer than 7% of tenants do. Why is this? Most tenants facing eviction can't afford a lawyer. And right now, our free legal aid system does not have the capacity to even somewhat meet the need of the number of eviction cases that are filed annually. And this isn't on the slide, but right now with the eviction moratorium in Connecticut set to end at some point, most likely in the next few months, even more cases than are usually filed are building up and building up. I think 45,000 cases are pending right now. And so we really do not have the capacity to meet that need. Right to Counsel helps tenants understand and access their legal rights in a really confusing, difficult, stressful court situation, and also helps connect tenants with other resources that help them navigate eviction, navigate this really stressful life experience, and overall just really helps to increase housing stability for tenants. Could you, next slide, please? Thank you. So if you are interested in getting involved with Right to Counsel and supporting our movement, please sign and share our petition. There's a link tree that I will drop in the chat, and that has a link to the petition. It also will link you to scripts to call and email your legislators. Please, we want to put pressure on them. Right now, there's a bill that's in the Housing Committee, and so especially if you have a representative who's on the Housing Committee, Rick Lopes and Brandon McGee, please reach out to them, put pressure on them to get this passed. If you're a member of an organization that might be interested in endorsing our petition and joining our coalition, talk to people in your organization, reach out to us. We're also looking for testimony from people who have experience in housing court. We have an upcoming public hearing that doesn't have a date yet, but on this bill that's been introduced into the Housing Committee. And so we really want to share the experience of tenants in Connecticut and why this Right to Counsel legislation would be so important and so impactful for people's lives. And I think if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but that's our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dolly and Alice, and we wish you the greatest success with this, and we hope that we can get all of Connecticut behind you too. Gina, do we have any questions for them?
I haven't seen any questions come in. I don't know if anyone else has. I guess they gave a really thorough presentation, but if anyone has a question, feel free to drop it in the chat.
And make sure you also check out all the links that have been dropped in there to help on this.
Thank you, Beth. I guess you can proceed.
Okay, thank you, Gina. So joining us next to discuss the effort to stop the Killingly power plant, strong on my list, are Senna Wazer and Mitchell Kaviter, co-directors of Sunrise, Connecticut. Both Senna and Mitchell are students at UConn, where they are studying environmental studies. And I may ask, I think the young people are the hope for our country right now. And in addition to their studies and their work with Sunrise, Senna serves as a member of the Governor's Council on Climate Change, GC3, Equity, and Environmental Justice Working Group, while Mitchell serves as the State Affairs Coordinator of the Undergraduate Student Government at UConn. Welcome, Senna and Mitchell. And just like with Alice and Dolly, I'll just drop a few questions in sort of to lay the groundwork here, if that's okay with you guys. So first of all, tell us why Sunrise is fighting to stop the Killingly power plant from being built. And I hope you succeed. Governor Lamont has publicly stated his opposition to the plant, but he claims his hands are tied by regional market obligations. What does this mean? And how can people listening tonight help make sure the Killingly plant is stopped in its tracks? Thank you so much, and take it away.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Beth. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone tonight. Thank you again for inviting Sunrise, Connecticut to come out and speak on behalf of Killingly, and lots of things happening in our wonderful state of Connecticut. Senator and I are honored to be here. So Killingly is a proposed fossil fuel plant, natural gas plant, and it's been in the works for about 5 years now. Some brief history. And the thing is that it's crunch time now. Construction's set to begin in 2021. And the Not Another Power Plant organization, which is based out of Killingly, where this plant is going to be made, has been fighting this fight for years. And environmental groups like Sunrise and a lot of our peers have really joined in that fight. And recently, the governor has come out against publicly the fossil fuel plant, which was a major statement on his part. Prior to that, there were some kind of wishy-washy statements, and being a former member of his transition committee on energy policy back in the day, it was good to see the governor come out against this plant. Unfortunately, he's saying that his hands are tied, as Beth mentioned, and that it's up to ISO New England and other regional collaborators and energy groups, and that there's nothing he can do. Personally, I think that the governor and Sunrise Connecticut believes the governor does have the opportunity to cancel this plant, being the head of our executive branch, and really pointing out some of the hypocrisy between his administration's goals, be it offshore wind and upgrades in energy efficiency, or be it the Attorney General William Tong's recent efforts to sue ExxonMobil over lying to the American public around climate change and the associated damages that will be damaging our state and trying to recoup some of that money. It's really paradoxical to me and to Sunrise Connecticut and a lot of folks why we're moving forward with new fossil fuel infrastructure in the state of Connecticut. This plant, it would produce over 2 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions each year, not to mention the associated environmental effects with the new pipeline being built and the toxins that would be released into the surrounding area and the endangered species that are located in Killingly. And honestly, Killingly should be something easy to stop. We have a lot of movement here in the state of Connecticut from grassroots groups pushing for this to end. It's unfortunate to see how far along it is still pursuing. And with that, we're going to move on to Senna Wazer, who's going to kind of talk about the next steps in trying to get rid of or to stop the construction of the Killingly fossil fuel plant. Because right now it really is crunch time, and we need all the support we can get in making sure that this no longer becomes a thing. So that includes publishing op-eds, writing letters, as well as some legislative work that Senna is going to touch on. It's essential that we continue this fight, and thank you all for being here.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Mitch, for setting me up like that. It's perfect. So as Mitch mentioned, ourselves and our allies have been fighting this plant in a variety of ways and for a very long time. But right now I'm going to focus on one small part of this fight, which is passing legislation through the Connecticut General Assembly. So as we've heard, even with the new administration federally, it is really critical that our state government step up and take bold action on the climate crisis. And so we were lucky that State Senator Christine Cohen did raise a bill, which I will drop the information for in the chat after this. And its number is SB 718, which is an act instilling a moratorium on the construction of new fossil fuel plants. And basically what this bill would do is not only hopefully stop the Killingly power plant, that will depend on the exact language of the bill, but it would also stop the construction of all new power plants that might be built in the future, which is really important because, should Killingly get stopped, there is a definite possibility that ISO New England, which is the authority in charge of the grid, and the governor / the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection would just turn around and end up building the plant somewhere else, likely in a majority Black and brown or low income community. The thing is, though, with this bill, the Energy and Technology Committee, which is a committee that would have to bring SB 718 to a public hearing, is being very, very resistant to the bill. And so now is really the time where we have to pull, everything out and go all in terms of pushing them to raise the bill. And so Sunrise Connecticut, as well as a lot of our partner organizations, are working very hard on this. We'll be submitting a series of op-eds in the Connecticut papers. Hopefully they're going to get published. And we're also going to have a social media campaign going on, which we have started. So if you'd like to support this, our work, or just kind of see what's going on, I will drop links to our Instagram, our Facebook, as well as our email sign up, and we'll regularly update so you know what's going on. And yeah, we would love your support. And thank you again so much for having us tonight.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to turn over to Gina for some questions, which I did see that entered in the chat. Take it away, Gina.
I did see a couple great questions. The first question they had was, there's a lot of open space and organic farms near the plant. How would that plant affect those spaces?
So I haven't heard too much about the specific open space, but I do know that, I mean, it will produce air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. So that's, of course, never a positive thing. And so in terms of the open space, you know, I'm sure it will affect that, as well as affecting the communities nearby in terms of asthma, which our state already has very high rates of. And then the other thing is that they also have to build a pipeline through a wetland to build the plant. And that was actually just permitted. And this wetland would be going through, you know, an endangered wetland, as well as possibly disturbing some endangered species. So definitely a lot of very negative effects.
Some of the studies that have been done have shown that the likelihood of toxins, unfortunately, being released into the environment is almost near inevitable from both the construction of the plant and the maintenance in regards to the pipeline and the plant itself in the coming years. So I would imagine most definitely those organic farms potentially might be affected by such. I'm not an expert, but there are a number of species there, such as there's a turtle species as well as an owl species that are endangered that do reside in that wetland. So that is a concern of ours from the environmental lens, as opposed to just the climate change lens. But
thank you so much. Will you guys be able to speak to how stopping construction might impact reliability of electric supply in Connecticut?
Yeah, I can speak to that really quick. So Connecticut is actually like a net exporter. So we produce more energy than we use, exporting it to other states in the Northeast. And so not building Killingly won't actually have an effect on our grid. And then furthermore, we also did actually purchase wind energy right before this plant got permitted, which was not taken into consideration. And so we have like even more energy than was considered when the plant was being permitted. And then the final thing I would just say is we can also expand our energy efficiency programs, which will reduce the amount of energy we need, which is great, you know, whether we're using fossil fuel energy or renewable energy.
Thank you so much, Senna and Mitchell. And I was able to post your links in the chat here for everyone, including the letter. It's a sample letter to Ned Lamont regarding Killingly. Thank you. Beth, you can take it over.
I see there's another question in Q&A if you want to ask them that one.
If we have enough time, if you could ask, because I don't see the one you're referring to, go ahead.
Okay, if the Connecticut government does prevent new fossil fuel plants from being built, what's the plan to fulfill new energy requirements sustainably?
So kind of like Sana was mentioning, I think one of the main, and I meant to mention this, one of the main aspects Connecticut, in my personal opinion, should be pursuing is the pursuit of energy efficiency. Connecticut's obviously a very old state. A lot of our buildings are poorly insulated, and are not up to code as they should be. When we look at a state like California or something, typically a lot of their buildings are held to a higher standard than ours and simply waste less energy. And in the last decade to 15 years or so, energy efficiency programs here in the state of Connecticut have prevented the need for at least 3 what would have been new fossil fuel plants or new solar plants, new whatever. So energy efficiency is simply a great way to go, as well as being one of the most equitable options we have on the table, because the more we draw down our energy usage, the less we need for either fossil fuels or new renewable infrastructure. So energy efficiency is most definitely at the top of our list. And again, kind of like Senna did mention, a lot of our energy is actually being exported. But there's lots of options on the table. As Governor Lamont with his executive order number 3 issued is new offshore wind farms off of our coast, and I think that's a step in the right direction. And I think we're going to see more and more of that being expanded within our Constitution state.
We do have one more other question. If you could answer this one quickly, what are the benefits to the towns and its residents that the towns and the residents will receive from ENT? And I don't know what ENT stands for.
Okay, I'm not sure either. But basically, the argument that the town has for the plant is that they're saying that it's going to create jobs. However, the thing is, it's really only creating about 24 jobs, not even. So it's a very minimal benefit to the town. And then the other thing is, it is a tax benefit. So what we are trying to do is kind of talk about green jobs and in the really huge opportunity that provides for the town and our state.
again, briefly, one of the biggest sectors we've been seeing both growth and job stability in our state is energy efficiency. So again, why not double down on that and move forward and make sure there's a just transition for folks that would be in working in a said fossil fuel plant like Killingly, and providing job training. That's a huge part of what Sunrise is all about in our larger Green New Deal objective. But thank you.
Awesome. You guys are awesome. I'm with you guys. I'm actually on your email list. So thank you so much for joining us. And I hope we can work together actually, and Right to Counsel, the same thing. So we're going to go now to our great sister, Nina Turner. As you know, she's running for the open representative seat in Ohio. And we have a couple of sisters from the Ohio Our Revolution group. Kendall Sutton is an Our Revolution Ohio organizer from Cleveland, great town. Better known as Sutton or Lauren's mom. She works full-time for a national nonprofit, is a 2021 Cleveland Heights City Council candidate, and a champion for voter registration and social justice, both locally and nationally. Sutton is the volunteer coordinator for Our Revolution Nina Turner efforts on the ground in Ohio's Congressional District 11. If I'm not mistaken, that's Kucinich's area. Kiki is a New London, Connecticut native, having lived here the first 2 weeks of her sweet life since she has been in Ohio. She goes by many names. She is a mom to four, Kristen to friends, and Dr. Kranz to her patients. But to many here, she might be known as Kiki from the Bernie 2020 call team Mod Squad. A family physician by day, she transforms into a humanitarian activist during her spare time. Currently, she's working to form the nonpartisan Medina County Justice Coalition and works with Our Rev Ohio, mostly on Medicare for All issues and the Nina campaign. And Our Rev Ohio is a great group. Go guys, take it.
Thank you so much for having us, Beth, and the rest of the Connecticut team. Our Revolution Ohio is working really hard to get Nina Turner elected to Congress here in Congressional District 11. We've had almost 1,000 volunteer signups nationally. We've already begun phone banking, and we had a successful virtual fundraiser and music festival at the end of January to sort of kick off our efforts.
Yeah, so we've been holding phone banks every Sunday and every Wednesday evening, and we've already made over 24,000 calls. I actually recognize some of the callers present here, Sarah, and we are doing training on Zoom and support from the Bernie Mod Squad on Slack. As you may or may not know, phone banking is one of the best ways to learn how to talk to, and more importantly, how to listen to others about the issues that are important to them. And it's one of the best ways to learn how to persuade others to causes that are important to all of us.
We're also starting our own version of the Bernie Victory Captains with the creation of our Neighbors for Nina program. We're seeking out local leaders. We're going to have somebody from each precinct in the district. That's over 600. They will be on the ground team leaders, and we are going to get in contact with as many voters as we need to make sure Nina is elected.
We do not know the date of the election yet, and once Marcia Fudge is confirmed, then we'll have a better understanding of how we'll progress, but it's very likely that the election will be in August. So we're also brainstorming and working on plans to do leadership trainings and deep canvas trainings, and we're going to leave those open to people to join us nationwide. So keep an eye on the National Our Revolution Slack for information about those offerings. We just want to remind you, and I think you probably all know this, that Nina brings experience, commitment, and compassion to all that she does. And we need her in Congress to push an agenda that's working for all of us, for the working class and the poor.
If you want to sign up to help us get Nina elected to Congress, you can help no matter where you are in the country. There is a link in the chat. Phone banks are happening every Wednesday and Sunday.
Hello, somebody. Please join up to phone bank for this incredible woman. We need so many more people like her in the squad in the House of Representatives. They're killing us. They're killing us. So anything else, you guys?
I think that about sums it up. I think Nina's going to be an incredible force for Cleveland, Akron, and the gerrymandered areas in between. And as you well know, a powerful voice in Congress works not just for their immediate constituents, but for the entire nation. And as I overheard Chuck Rocha say that, we need to expand the squad, but when Nina gets there and joins with Cori Bush, we're going to have Sister Sledge along with them. So we'd love for everybody to join us and help. And we're grateful that you wanted to hear about it tonight from us. Thanks so much.
Always. Anytime you want to come back, sisters, anytime. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to kick it over to Nick, who will kind of wrap us up. Nick, take it over.
Thank you, Beth. So just a quick few reminders of some of the actions we're asking you to take tonight. First, on the effort to stop the Killingly power plant, I believe somebody's going to drop the link below, but please click that link to write a letter to Governor Lamont to let him know that no, we should not be having any more gas power plants anywhere in our state that can produce plenty enough energy through renewable ways that our activists like the Sunrise Movement have fought for these past few years. Second, on the effort to pass right to counsel legislation, there's a link tree below, posted in the chat to sign the petition themselves and phone bank and call those legislators that are so desperately needed right now to hear that that bill needs a public hearing and it needs your support now more than ever. The third thing we're asking you to do is to sign up to phone bank for Nina Turner, which the link I believe will also be posted below. And then to mark your calendars for our next statewide meeting on March 11th. If you really enjoyed this experience of like us bringing in some statewide activists and folks who are focused on electoral work, then we will be discussing progressive legislation that's already proposed in the state legislature, with an eye to learning how we can pressure and have this legislation passed. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on the legalization of marijuana, including provisions to expunge previous felony convictions and progressive taxation. Of course, we have had great success already here in Connecticut with 34 state candidates we endorsed in the last election that won, including, just to name a few, State Senator Saud Anwar, State Senator George Cabrera, State Senator Julie Kushner, State Senator Gary Winfield, Representative Robin Porter, and of course, Representative Mike D'Agostino. As we move into the summer and municipal election cycles, we're going to be focusing a lot more on recruiting and elected progressives at the local level. So let us know if you have any candidates you think we should endorse. You can always put your name in the chat. So I will now turn it over to Anna Marta.
Anna, may I just make one quick announcement?
Go ahead.
Ophelia had another question, and I would suggest you getting directly in contact with Sunrise to answer that question on geothermal energy. I didn't see it until after we'd finished. I didn't want you to think that we had avoided that, okay? Okay, go ahead, Nina. I'm sorry, Nina. I got Nina. Go ahead, Anna.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Nick, for that awesome recap of all the local actions. I just want to remind you all of the initial pitch. This is an amazing national group working with a distributed network of awesome local state networks, such as the Connecticut network. So please contribute. Support our movement, support our group. As Nina said, we are making a down payment on our mission. We are asking for $5. That's affordable for everyone. Times are tough, so that's why we are really making it accessible, affordable for everyone to sign up and become a monthly, recurring, sustaining member of Our Revolution. You'll get an amazing, cool little card in the mail, and you'll have something tangible to show people. Yeah, you are an Our Revolution member and contributor and volunteer and just an all-around awesome organizer. So thanks again, Connecticut. This was a great call with amazing local organizers talking about two important local issues that we will follow up on nationally as well. We are making the eviction crisis, the foreclosure crisis, a national issue, and you'll hear more states talking about this issue as we go on with our state calls. So thank you again for the guest. Let me recap a couple of national calls and other state calls that you might want to tune in if you're interested. Every Monday, we have an awesome national field call, an organizing call that's open to all of our volunteers, members, supporters, and allies. It is an amazing call that usually has thousands of people on the phones. Next week, this upcoming Monday, we are going to have Ayanna Pressley as special guest. Every week we have amazing headliners, special guests, progressive champions, nationally renowned political figures join our call. This coming week is going to be Ayanna Pressley, so tune in. We are putting the link to that call in the chat for you to sign up in advance to be sure that you don't miss it. Next, we have a couple of state calls coming up next week. I want to highlight Florida, another state where I organize with an awesome local team there. We have Anna Escamani, Chad Alberton, who is an Our Revolution organizer turned now city commissioner, Jack Porter, and an upcoming candidate who is running for city council, Richie Floyd, join us in Florida. Then on Wednesday, we have 2 calls because sometimes we have multiple calls on the same day. We have Washington, D.C. with an amazing call. And then we have Oregon, that you see Washington at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, and then Oregon the same day, 7 p.m. as well, Pacific time. They have a racial justice focused town hall event, so tune into that as well. So some amazing national calls and a national field call on Monday, and then following that week, amazing state calls every single day of the week. This is what we do. This is why we are asking you to sustain our organization, sustain this movement so we can keep doing amazing grassroots, deep work, field work in every state and secure progressive wins, not only for candidates, but policies that are going to make our lives better. So that is the end of the call. Please don't forget to sign up to become a volunteer, and not only a volunteer, but also a sustaining member. I put the link in the chat one more time for you. And at the end of our call, we usually close it with a chant. We believe that when we organize, we win. This is our mission, and we do some great organizing everywhere in the country. So let's chant. This is the time when I'm going to ask you to unmute your microphone and chant with me. When we organize, we win.
We win.
When we organize,
When we organize, we win.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.